Hi, Wolfpack fans. I'm on part 2 of emotional intelligence. So it's really easy to listen to those definitions in part 1, but in reality, how hard is it to do it when all of the emotions start bubbling up? Because it's not just straightforward, right? Oh, I'm supposed to listen to how I'm feeling right now. I'm supposed to think before I talk, but I often mess up every day on this. So now I'm going to give you this quiz. I want you to read each one of these questions, and I want you to write down the answer that you think is correct. Let me make this a little bit bigger here so you can see it. So starting with number 1, you are on an airplane that suddenly hits bad turbulence and begins to rock from side to side. What do you do? So you are going to go ahead and just jot with a old-fashioned pen and paper what you think about the answer to that question. And I'm going to let you take a second to do that. And if you need more time, go ahead and pause. Number 2, you are in a meeting when a colleague takes credit for the work that you have done. What do you do? So take a pause and read those 4 and then move on to number 3. You are a customer service representative. I've just gotten an extremely angry client on the phone. What do you do? Take a pause and pick your answer because we're going to show you the real answers and give you a score on how you do on your emotional intelligence. So there's going to be points assigned. You are a college student, you can relate to that, and you'd hope to get an A in the course that was important for your future career aspirations. You just found out you got a C minus on the midterm. What do you do? You are a manager in an organization that is trying to encourage respect for racial and ethnic diversity. You overhear someone telling a racist joke. What do you do? Number 6, you are an insurance salesperson calling on prospective clients and you have left the last 15 clients empty-handed. What do you do? Number 7, you are trying to calm down a colleague who has worked herself into a fury because the driver of another car has dangerously cut close in front of her. What do you do? Number 8, a discussion between you and your partner has escalated into a shouting match. You are both very upset and in the heat of the argument start making personal attacks which neither of you really mean. What is the best thing to do? Number 9, you've been given the task of managing a team that has been unable to move forward and come up with a creative solution to a work problem. What is the first thing you do? And lastly, you have recently been assigned a young manager on your team and have noticed that he appears to be unable to make the simplest decisions without seeking advice from you. What do you do? Now, this is the real life situation where the rubber meets the road. So we're going to go back to the PowerPoint now, and we're going to give you the answers and see how you scored on this quiz. And you're going to actually see the results. And so when we look at the results, 100 is the top score, and that means that you are in the maximum area. If you hit 50 on this, you got average, and 25 or below is the minimum score. All right, so we got to go back up now to the part of our PowerPoint where we are looking specifically at what we did in part 1. Now these are all the questions. So let's take a look one by one at your answers. First was the airplane. All right, here are your points. You've got 10 if you continue to read your book, 10 if you are vigilant for an emergency, 10 if you do a little of each, and you get 0 for D. Next up was the credit stealing colleague. So you can see here the points that you would get. The most emotionally intelligent answer is D. By demonstrating an awareness of workplace dynamics and ability to control your emotions, publicly recognizing your own accomplishments is as in a non-threatening manner will disarm your colleague as well as put you in a better light with your manager and peers. Public confrontations can be ineffective and are likely to cause your colleague to become defensive and may look like poor sportsmanship on your part. Although less threatening, private confrontations are also less effective in that they will not help your personal reputation. Number 2, the answer is D. How'd you do on that one? Empathizing with the customer will help calm him down and focus back on the solution. And that will ultimately help the customer attain his needs. Confronting the customer will become more defensive and tends to anger the customer. Now your points for 4, the midterm. So A is an indicator of self-motivation, also known as an achievement motivation. We define that in part 1. It is your ability to form a plan of overcoming obstacles to achieve long-term goals. While focusing efforts on class, where you have a better opportunity may sometimes be productive if the goal was to learn the content of the course to help your long-term career objectives, you are unlikely to achieve. The racist joke. The most effective answer is C. You must create an atmosphere that welcomes diversity, and it is to be clear in public and that the social norms of your organization do not tolerate such expressions. Confronting the behavior privately lets the individual know the behavior is unacceptable, but it does not communicate it to the team. Instead of trying to change prejudices, as harder task that is, keep people from acting on them. So we've got C, speak up on the spot, saying that such jokes are inappropriate and will not be tolerated in this organization. Now we're on to the setback of the salesman. So the setback here is B, optimism and taking initiative are both indicators of emotional intelligence. Lead people to see setbacks as challenges they can learn from, and to persist trying out new approaches rather than giving up, blaming, or getting demoralized. So our appropriate answer on the setback. Next is the road rage. D is all research shows that anger and rage seriously affect one's ability to perform effectively. Your ability to avoid or control this emotional reaction in yourself and others is likely an indicator of emotional intelligence. Next is the shouting match. We have A. In these circumstances, the most appropriate behavior is to take a 20-minute break. As the argument has intensified, so that the psychological response in your nervous system to the point at which it will take at least 20 minutes to clear your body of these emotions of anger. Any other course of action is likely merely to agitate an already tense situation. Next is the uninspired team. The answer is B. As a leader of a group of individuals charged with developing a creative solution, your success will depend on the climate that you can create in your project team. Creativity is likely to be stifled by structure and formality. Instead, creative groups perform at their peak when rapport, harmony, and comfort levels are most high. In these circumstances, people are most likely to take the project with a positive contribution to the success of the team. And then finally, 10, the indecisive young manager. D is the correct answer. Managing others requires high levels of emotional intelligence, particularly if you are going to be successful in maximizing the performance of your team. Often, this means that you need to tailor your approach to meet the specific needs of the individual and to provide them with support and feedback to help them grow with confidence. Here is the scoring system. And here are the final points today. Why it's important to know your emotional intelligence is to be a strong leader that has direct impact. And we would like to encourage you to ask questions when we have one-on-one conversations to be in person again.